Hi, I'm Bered. It's nice to meet you. And now for our first class, what you will need in front of you to make this easier is the page of part 2. We're going to go over together what the Hebrew means. As you may have noticed in the Hebrew text, and somewhat lost in the English translation, is the distinction between lishkav im and lishkav et. Lishkav im, sorry about the sexual content here, lishkav im means to lay with, lishkav et means to lay, et then meaning whatever follows is an object. I gave you several examples and let's take a look at them, and from that we can understand how the Tanakh uses each one of the expressions. The first one you have is lishkav et. Okay? The first example comes from Bereshit, from Genesis, chapter 34. In Hebrew it reads as follows: Vayar ota Shechem ben Hamor hachivi, nesi haaretz, vayikach ota, vayishkav ota, vayaneha. Okay, or in English, Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, the prince of the land, saw her. We're talking about Dinah, the daughter of Jacob. Okay, and he took her, lay her, okay, an object, and oppressed her. The other example I gave you, where the word et is used, lishkav et, comes from the second book of Samuel. It's talking about the rape of Tamar by her half-brother Amnon. In Hebrew it reads, Velo ava lishmoa bekola, vayechizak mimena, vayaneha, vayishkav ota. Or in English, he, Amnon, would not hearken to her voice, and Tamar protested, okay, and being stronger than she, he oppressed her and he lay her. Okay, lishkav et followed by an object, okay, where she becomes the object. Then I gave you two examples of lishkav im. Okay, the first one comes from the very same story of Amnon and Tamar. Okay, this comes a few verses before that, in verse 11. Vatagesh elav leechol, vayechizak ba, vayomer la boi shichvi imi achoti. Okay, and in English, okay, she came near him, she brought him the food, and he took hold of her and he said to her, "Come lie with me, my sister." And at this point we know already the end of the story. She protests, and it becomes from vayishkav im to yishkav et, from laying with to laying using an object. The other half is an object, not two people. Yeah. The second case where you have lishkav im comes from Genesis chapter 30, Bereshit. Okay, and this is the story of Jacob and his two wives, Rachel and Leah. Okay, and indeed, Rachel says to Leah, "Please give me your son's mandrakes because I am without children," and we know apparently in those days this was considered one way of attempting to conceive. And Leah is quite upset, and she says, "Hame'at kachtech et ishi v'lakach gam et dudae bni." Is it enough that you took my husband? Now you're also taking my son's mandrakes. And they strike up a deal. Okay, and Rachel says to him, "Lachen yishkav imach halayla." Okay, and therefore he will lay with you tonight. Okay, and indeed Jacob comes home from the field, and Leah comes out and greets him and says, "You're coming to me. Okay, for I have hired you with my son's mandrakes." Okay, and he lay with her that night. Vayishkav imah balayla hu. And now comes the question, what is the difference between lishkav et and lishkav im? And I suspect that by now you have realized that the Tanakh is quite careful about which phrase it uses. Okay, lishkav et, where the other part is an object, is not consensual. Lishkav im, to lay with, is consensual on both parts. Okay, both parties want this. This is a consensual relationship. Okay, wherever we have rape, it is lishkav et. Where we have a consensual relationship, it's lishkav im, with. Now comes the fascinating part of our story. Take a look at what it says with the older daughter. It says lishkav et. Okay? Her relationship, when she sleeps with her father, laying with is an incorrect translation. It's lishkav et, she lays him. he is not a willing partner here. The fascinating partner comes when you look at the second order. Lishkav im. She lays with him. You say, wait a moment, what's going on here? The Torah did not make a mistake. The Torah was not just changing the Hebrew around. It is a very careful and calculated change in the terminology. What is the implication of it? That I'm leaving for you to figure out.